You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. It's time for our last player and our last episode on this very special Liverpool-themed Super Week. I hope that you've enjoyed all the episodes on this Super Week, and I hope that you've learnt lots. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a one-club player for Liverpool. A player who racked up a staggering 737 games for the club. He was a 2-times FA Cup winner with the club, a 3-times League Cup winner with the club, and of course, a Champions League winner as well. In this episode, we're going to be talking about no other than Jamie Carragher. Jamie Carragher was born in Bootle, Liverpool on the 28th of January in 1978. And get this, as a boy, like a lot of kids growing up, he supported who his father did. And in Liverpool, there's only really 2 teams that people support, Liverpool and Everton. Carragher, following in his dad's footsteps, was a Blue and even has 2 middle names which are linked to Everton Football Club. Jamie Lee Duncan Carragher comes from 2 people who were at the club when Carragher was born. Gordon Lee was the manager at the time and Duncan McKenzie was a player at the time. And as the story goes, that is how Jamie Carragher got his full name. Who would have thought he'd go on to be a one-club player and an absolute legend for Liverpool Football Club? When Jamie Carragher was a kid, I think it's fair to say that these were the glory days of Everton, and there probably hasn't been many times better. And it was the 80s, one of the most successful periods in the club's history, winning the English top division twice and making it to several FA Cup finals, among many other special moments. Jamie, like pretty much every single footballer that we have covered on the podcast, was obsessed with football relatively early. And at around 6 years old, he played for his very first team, which was a team called Merton Villa. It was reported that it wasn't uncommon for Jamie to play football with kids a fair bit older than him, and this would have helped him with building his strength and becoming a strong and no-nonsense player, which was something he was most definitely recognised for as the years went by. Everywhere Jamie went, he was into football. At home he would be playing football, on the weekends he'd be playing football with his team, and even when he went to school he would play in the school football team, and he really shined brightly. Loving something that you do is a big part of being successful and getting better at it. However, you still have to work harder than you ever have before to get better than you were before, and Jamie is a testament to that. It's reported that Jamie Carragher's ability clearly made him stand out as a young player. But his coaches from over the years have said that his drive, his perseverance and his never giving up attitude is something which meant more. It's said that when he was playing youth football for a local side in Liverpool, he scored a whopping great 38 goals in one season and really had heads turning. He was a clear talent with so much going for him, and his coach at the time nicknamed him Billy the Whiz, and said for many years after that Jamie Carragher was the very best player that team has ever produced. When Jamie Carragher was around 11 years old, he was playing in a very special match which was a Youth Cup final, and they got to play the match at no other than Anfield's football ground. Jamie scored a cracker at the Kop end in the top bins, And this is where it said he was noticed by a top scout called Harry Hodges. Harry was more than impressed with Jamie, and off the back of that, he recommended him to Liverpool Football Club. Jamie kept working unbelievably hard. He kept playing football wherever he could. He rubbed shoulders with some of the best up and coming talent about, and eventually, through his never giving up attitude and making him the best version of himself that he could possibly be, he ended up becoming a Liverpool football player. By the time that Jamie had become an official Liverpool player with an official contract, he'd already broken a record with the England under-21s team, as at that time he had earned more caps for the under-21 side than anyone else had to that point. This kid was a kid who was going places. Jamie would eventually, after even more hard work and showing the coach what he was about and why he deserved a shot on the field, make his senior debut for the Reds when he came on as a sub in the EFL League Cup quarter-final against Middlesbrough. Back then, the League Cup was known as the Coca-Cola Cup, and this was at some point in 1997. The following year, Carragher would make his Premier League debut for Liverpool at Anfield when the Reds played Aston Villa. Many of the Liverpool fans in attendance thought that this was Jamie's first ever game at Anfield, and they were very excited about this young defender who was already doing wonderful things in the England under-21 side. But little did they know, he'd already played at Anfield, hadn't he? It was in that Youth Cup final, and he'd scored a screamer in the top bins at the Kop end. Whenever Jamie got his opportunities to come on and represent his club, he took them with both hands. He never once left anything on the pitch. He put his all into every single moment of every single game, and his consistency would eventually pay off, and he became a regular face in Liverpool's first team. It's also worth mentioning, around this time, he was the captain of the England under-21 side, which was a massive achievement in itself. However, if you think that Jamie was now settled in and his position on the pitch was cemented, then you need to think again. When players make it into a top team, the hard work is only really starting. The team signed established and world-class defenders on a regular basis. This meant that Jamie had to fight for his position on the pitch. He had to show why he should be picked above them. Not only that, managers over the years would come and go, so he continuously had to show the new managers why he was the man to be picked for that position. Jamie's career, like everyone at some point, hasn't always gone smoothly. He really did have some bad times, like when he scored not one but 2 own goals in a game with Liverpool's rivals Manchester United. United went on to win the game 3-2, and they only had to score 1 goal because Jamie netted the others. Here's the thing though, mistakes happen. Sometimes they are worse than the mistakes other people might make. Sometimes they aren't as bad as you think they are. But the most important thing is to hold your hands up and do everything in your power to learn from those mistakes. This is exactly what Jamie Carragher did. He worked solidly on mastering the fullback position, and he did everything he possibly could to make sure that he could be the best that he possibly was. Everyone can learn something from this because nobody is perfect. Jamie carried on riding the ups and downs of football after this, making match-saving tackles and being a standout leader from the back and wearing that Liverpool kit proudly, until a big setback would come knocking on his door in a game against Blackburn Rovers. Jamie had his leg broken by a silly and nasty tackle. Jamie would be out of training and out of games for 6 months at least. Although this was a huge setback and disastrous for such a good and young player, he got his head down, he listened to the physios, and he worked his socks off, getting back into a position where he could play for his team and his country again. This was a bit of a theme for Jamie Carragher. He was a player who suffered setbacks from injuries. He was a player who had to fight for his position, and a player who had to earn the respect and the support of the fans. All things that he did, and did through sheer grit and determination. Jamie was a part of that unforgettable night in Istanbul in 2005 when Liverpool came from behind to beat AC Milan and become Champions League champions. He and Liverpool made it to the final again just 2 seasons later. He won the FA Cup twice, he made it to 3 finals overall, he won 3 League Cups and a stack load of individual awards and trophies. By the end of his Liverpool career, the fans around Anfield were singing songs about wanting and needing a team of Jamie Carragher's. Jamie was a one-club player. He made 737 appearances for the red side of a city. And he did it because he had an ability to play football very well, but he did it because he worked harder than anyone around him. He was gritty, determined, and most importantly, even after those 2 own goals and that broken leg and all of those managers and all of those top defenders being signed, he never, ever gave up. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly, or pitch side, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Football for Kids is proud to be supporting Soccer Aid for UNICEF 2025. Watch some of the biggest stars take to the pitch at Old Trafford on June 15th for yet another match which is set to be a classic. Tickets are available now via socceraid.org.uk/tickets.